तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्युषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्।
Okay, is the connectivity fine, guys? If any disturbance, you please let me know. I will post the class there. Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, see, today second slot. It looks like many of you have Cisco exams, girls students. So can we postpone the exam to some other free slot instead of handling the lab itself? I mean, the complete lab itself, we can postpone to some other free slots in this week. Is it available? Any free slots?
So only Wednesday afternoon.
Okay. Is it comfortable for all of you?
So Wednesday afternoon, I think software engineering will have a sprint evaluation for projects. I'm not sure, but Certal will postpone to Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Sir has already fixed for our team.
Okay. See, if we conduct it today, then for reconducting it will be difficult for us. So that is the reason.
Can we have it on Saturday and sometimes anytime? Maybe if everyone is.
Yeah, so that is also fine for maybe Saturday.
Saturday, huh? Okay.
Or next
Okay.
Tuesday, sir.
That will be too late actually. We'll see all the possibilities, okay?
Okay, sir.
I will see the possibility and let you know. So I'll discuss with Vishwa sir and get back to you before third period itself. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So let us continue our class today. So yesterday we had discussed error detection and correction, how it is done in layer 2. So today we will discuss multiple access protocols. Multiple access protocols means you have a device which is connected to a cable, and that cable is connected to a network. Okay. The point here is the cable is connected to a network, through which it can access multiple devices. Okay, that is like from a single lane road, if you are entering to a multi-lane road, you can access any of these 3 lanes. Okay, so similarly, if you send a data from one computer, it can go to many other computers. That is what you mean by multiple access protocols.
Sorry, you are
Sorry.
not sharing your screen, sir.
Okay. Okay. So that is about 5.3 topic. That is what we are going to discuss now. Okay. So let's continue. So the scenario, the examples are here in the bottom of this slide. So shared wire, that's a common bus topology. So in a common bus topology, some examples of common bus topology are like if you are using a hub in the middle and you are connecting computers by using cables. So that is a common bus topology. When you send a data, it will go to the hub, and from the hub, it will go to all the devices. Okay, that I can say as a common bus topology. Though physically it is a star topology, it is identified as a bus topology in logical topology. Then in a Wi-Fi model, it's again a shared model. Once your signal is out, it is accessible to everybody. Then radio frequency, shared satellite. Then all this, an analogy you can take as a where a few people are gathered and they are speaking each other. That is also a broadcast. Anyway, so the other type of link is point to point, where one sender and only one receiver is there, just like a telephone call. If you make a phone call between you and your friend, it is a point-to-point connection. So most of the connections, most of the communications in internet is broadcast communication. Okay, because we cannot afford point-to-point connection between all the users. The logic is very simple. I mean, that cost is very high. So in multiple access protocol, it's a single shared broadcast channel. 2 or more simultaneous transmissions by nodes interference into a collision. Okay, if 2 nodes send simultaneously, that is known as collision. That is the biggest challenge when you are trying to save the money by using multiple access protocols. So in multiple access protocol, what all are the things you would need? A distributed algorithm that determines how nodes share channel. It is determined when node can transmit. Communication about channel sharing must use channel itself. No out-of-band channel for coordination. Okay. What is this out-of-band channel means? You have come across in FTP and all, right? Okay. There is no separate line or separate channels or separate network for you to decide which device has to send the data, etc. It has to be decided by using the existing channel itself. Okay. Then, so if you consider a broadcast channel of rate R bits per second. So you have a broadcast channel of R bits per second. So when one node wants to transmit, it can send at rate R. Okay. When one node wants to transmit, it can send at rate R because nobody else wants to send. So it can occupy the complete bandwidth. When M nodes want to transmit, each send at average rate R by M, because the entire bandwidth will be divided among M nodes. Only one fellow will send at a time. The other fellows have to wait. Okay, suppose if R is 100 Mbps and say 10 devices wants to send. First 10, 1 by 10th part of 1 second will be sent by the first computer. So he will be able to send only 10 Mbps in that time. Okay, rather straight away I can say 100 Mbps divided by 10 Mbps. So each fellow will get 10 Mbps of bandwidth. It is it is not like everybody is getting 10 Mbps continuously. No, it is like first 10 Mbps from one device will go, second 10 Mbps will go from second device. Likewise, the time will be divided. That is how mostly in multiple access protocols it is happening. We'll see there are some other methods also. What I am speaking is time division multiplexing. Okay, now it's fully decentralized. No special node to coordinate transmission. So whoever gets the chance to send, they will send it across, or it is working based on some algorithms. Okay, so no synchronization of clocks, slots, etc. It is very simple way of sending it. So this is how it is actually happening in your internet communication. Okay, your internet communication proudly you by saying when they are selling you, they'll sell by saying we'll give you 100 Mbps bandwidth or 50 Mbps bandwidth, etc. Okay, actually from the provider to outside world, he will have hardly 1 Gbps of line. Okay, he'll have 1 Gbps of line. If he is selling 50 Mbps to his customers or 100 Mbps to his customers, for 1 GB he can sell only 100 customers, right? Then only each customer will get 100 Mbps. Correct? Is my mathematics correct? I'll repeat. So suppose I'm a provider, okay? So what I have to fetch connection from tier 2 service provider because I'm a tier 3 provider, right? So I may fetch 1 Gbps of line from my provider side, 1 Gbps of line from my provider side. And 1 Gbps line, having 1 Gbps line from my office to outside world, I will be selling to my customers, say 100 Mbps of bandwidth. If I can sell only 100 customers like that, 100 Mbps line, right? Then only each customer will get 100 Mbps of bandwidth effectively, isn't it? But instead of that, what I will do is I will sell for 1,000 customers. Okay, I will sell for 1,000 customers. So each sorry, instead of 10 customers, I'll sell for 100 customers. So each customer, instead of getting 1 GB, 100 Mbps, he will get 10 Mbps of bandwidth, correct? So that is how I will make business, okay? That is how every internet service provider makes business. So the assumption what I will make is, at a time, it will not, more than 10 users will not be using internet. If 10 users are making use of internet at a time, everyone will get 100 Mbps. That is what assumption I will make. Okay. But it is not necessary that only 10 customers out of 100 will make use of it, right? So if all the 100 makes use of it or uses it, everyone will get 10 Mbps. Okay, but you will have internet in a slow manner. I mean, slow bandwidth. So that is how it is working. Is this point clear, guys? Now, 3 broad classes for multiple access protocols. One is channel partitioning. Divide the channel into smaller pieces, time slots, frequency, code, etc. You have studied the TDMA, time division multiple access, frequency division multiplex, FDMA, frequency division multiple access, code division multiple access, etc. in your lower semester or in your schools, I guess. Allocate pieces to node, piece to node for exclusive use. So you will be dividing the channel and giving a portion to one particular user or one set of users. Then next is quite common, that is random access. Channel is not divided. It will allow collisions and then it will recover from collisions. This is what we are using in Ethernet, Wi-Fi, etc. We'll see that in the coming session. Then taking turns. Nodes take turns, but nodes with more to send can take longer turns. So that is also we are going to discuss now. So now the first one is channel partitioning protocols. Okay, the first one is time division multiplexing. So if you have some 6 devices to send across, I mean, 6 devices are connected to network. Okay, then your time is divided into 6 slots. Each slot will be assigned to one computers. Okay, and if that computer has a data, it will send across. If that computer does not have a data, that slot will be wasted. So that is the biggest problem here. The usage is the efficiency is very low, but advantage is there is no collision will take place because slot is defined for somebody and nobody else will use that slot. That's all. Now, next one is FDMA, frequency division multiple access. Frequency division multiple access. So here what you can see is the cable. There is a cable through which data will go, and this cable will have various signals which is of encapsulated into various frequencies, and then each frequency corresponds to one particular sender. Okay, one particular sender. So at the other side it will be what do you say, de-encapsulated, and will be taken this particular signals to that particular users. Okay, same like the same technology only you are using in your cable TV in your homes. Okay, the multiple signals will come through the cable, and your device will when you choose a channel, that particular frequency will be sent to the TV, will be de-encapsulated and sent to the TV. So that is how it is working. Then next is random access protocols. Random access protocols, as I already said, it will transmit, only one fellow will transmit at a time. So when one device is transmitting at a time, it will occupy the full bandwidth. It can use the full bandwidth. Okay. If two nodes by chance, if they are transmitting, then that situation is known as collision. Okay. Then you have got MAC protocols in random access who handles this. So what are the main functions of those protocols? How to detect collision, and once a collision is detected, how to come out of it. So these are the 2 points. Now, what are the MAC protocols you will be studying here is, one is slotted Aloha, the other one is Aloha, then CSMA CD, CSMA CA. Aloha and slotted Aloha we are not using much because that is mostly used in wide area network in few technologies. This is not much in use nowadays. Anyway, we'll go through that in a brief. Then CSMA, carrier sense multiple access, which is existing, which we are using now. CSMA CD is what we are using in wired local area network. CSMA CA is what we are using in wireless network, that is Wi-Fi network. Okay. Now let us see what is slotted Aloha quickly. Are you all live? I'm not hearing any voice from you. Am I audible? Are you all able to listen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Let us continue. Slotted Aloha. All frames are of same size. Time divided into equal size slots. Then nodes start to transmit only at the slot beginning. Nodes are synchronized. If two or more nodes transmit in a slot, all nodes detect a collision. So I think I have a diagram for this. Okay. There must be a diagram. Yeah. So, okay, let me explain from here. It will be easy to understand. See here, it is divided into slots like C, E, C, S, E, C, E, S, S, like that. Okay. Let me assume that it is just a slot. Okay. So, okay. Now, there are three nodes in this case. Now, suppose if node 1 wants to send the data, he can send only in a free slot. Okay. Once if a free slot he gets, he will start sending the data. All right. Say node 1. Now all these three fellows have data at the same slot. Okay. Now if all the three start sending the data, it will lead to a collision. Now look at this slot. This slot only one fellow is there to send the data, and he will send the data. When he send the data, he will occupy the full bandwidth. Okay. So in most of the other slots, there is collision takes place and they have to resend the data. So that is the point here. So everybody is given time slot to send the data. So in that time slot, they will have to start sending it. Okay. That is what slotted aloha means. It may not be very clear, I guess, to you. Let me just move on to the next one. Anyway, you just be known to this name actually. We need not have to explain too much. The basic examples, the basic understanding you must have. Okay. Then there is unslotted aloha, which we call as pure aloha. So there is no time slot given for anybody. Okay. So whenever somebody is ready to send the data, he will check whether medium is free and he will send it across, or he will just put it into the medium. And if there is a collision occurs, that is the understanding is okay. The data is collided and it is two stations have started sending the data at the same time. That will be the interpretation. Okay. So in pure aloha and slotted aloha, the difference is only at the slot time it will be sending. Okay. See here. Only at the beginning of the slot time it will send. Say C slot is starting at say 5th second. So 5th second beginning, everybody can send it. Or if everybody sends, obviously it's a collision. If only one fellow is sending, that will be through. Then next time slot is E slot. That may be starting at 10th second. 10th second, if you are sending, you can send it. Between 10 and 15 seconds, you can send the data. But the point is, you cannot start at 11th second, or you cannot start at 12th or 13th second. You have to start at 10th second itself. That is a key point of slotted aloha. But in pure aloha, it is unslotted. You can send it at any time. There is no time, specific time to start sending the data. That is the difference between pure and slotted aloha. Next, carrier sends multiple access. Okay, this is our, we will have to study in detail this CSMA. So here what happens is, if channel is sensed idle, transmit entire frame. If channel is sensed busy, you just wait for wait to send the data. Okay. So I will explain it here. Okay. Now here you can see, all of you listen carefully. Okay, this you must understand very clearly. So this is an example of CSMA carrier sends multiple access, and there are chances of collisions also in this. Let us see how chances of collisions occurs. So CSMA has got two parts. One is carrier sense, other one is multiple access. Okay, multiple access means all these fellows can access the medium with same priority at the same time. That is why we call it as multiple access. Carrier sense is if somebody is sending a signal, the signal will be available throughout this cable, okay? And this, any computer of that matter, any computer's NIC card will be able to detect a little high voltage in the medium, okay? The NIC card can detect little high voltage in the medium. So that means the NIC card can detect the high voltage in the medium. So that is what you mean by carrier sense, okay? Have you understood these two words very clearly? What is this carrier sense and what is this multiple access? I'm assuming that you have understood. If somebody wants me to explain again, please tell me, okay? So now let us assume that say one computer is transmitting data. He started at T0 time, okay? So the data, it's the moment you put it here, it will distribute to this side and this side evenly, right? It's electrons in the form of electrons. So it will go to some distance here, some distance here for some time, in some time, say T1 time duration. T0 you have started sending, and in T1 time duration it has reached till here until here maybe. What does it mean is it is not in the position to detect by any other systems because it has not reached any other system. So now what happens is at T1 time, listen carefully. At T1 time, say this computer also detected the medium and he understood that medium is free. Okay. See, T0 time, say the second computer started sending the data because he understood medium is free. When he detected a carrier, there was no signal in the medium and he started sending. And electrons will take, there is a time for electrons or light to travel through the medium in order to reach some place. Okay. So by the time it reached, say the middle, the last computer who is little far detected the medium and he understood medium is free. So he also will start sending the data. Now what happens at some time, say T3 time, T2 time, when it reaches T2 time, the say the data has reached till here, that yellow color, that is second computer data has reached till here, till you can see the mouse pointer. And the last fourth computer data also has reached there. So now whatever data is going here, it is a collided data. Whatever data from here it is coming again back to here is also a collided data. Okay. See, both these computers will continue sending the data because it is 1500 bytes or something. So the entire data will go out. Once a computer started sending, it is naturally it has to go out, all the data. So now the entire medium is detecting collision. Did you understand this? So when two signals are collided, uh, the impact is amplitude of the signal will be more. Okay, amplitude will be more. So when a high amplitude or in usual words, I can say the voltage level will increase in the medium. So the increased voltage will be detected by your NIC card and will be understanding that there is a collision took place. So this is the pictorial representation of that collision. Okay. So the signal in the left side, it will continue for some more time without collision. But as and when the signal from fourth computer reaches more and more, the collision will be spread out more. Is it clear, guys? It's a very key concept. You have to understand very clearly. All of you picturize and memorize what I already mentioned. If you want me to explain it once again, please tell me, but you have to understand this clearly, okay? Okay. The next point is CD, CSMA CD, collision detection. Okay. So in collision detection, what will happen is, let me go to the previous diagram itself and we'll try to explain from here. See, the signal strength is increased here, right? The signal strength is increased here in the collision side. So as and when this reaches to the devices where it is initiated the collision, that is computer number 2 and computer number 4 in this case. So the moment these two fellows detect the increased voltage level, they will stop the transmission. So here in this diagram in CSMA, what you can see is, even after collision is occurred, even after they both understood that collision occurred, still they continued sending the signal. But in CSMA CD, the moment it detects the increased voltage level in the medium, it will stop sending the data. So that is what happening in CSMA CD. Okay, and there are a lot of other things also will take place. The moment it detects a collision, something called a back-off algorithm will run. Every system, every NIC card, when you install the driver, this software part also will be there. So the back-off algorithm, you may please note it down. I'm not sure whether it will be there in the textbook or not. The back-off algorithm will be running in both the machines. That is system number 4 and system number 2, where these two fellows only caused the collision, right? So they both will run a back-off algorithm. Okay, back-off algorithm, BACKOFF. Back-off algorithm will run. The purpose of that back-off algorithm is both these computers will be given a different time slot to try the medium in again, because both of them wants to send the data and their data is collided, and the NSC card want to resend the data. Okay, resend the data. So resending the data again, it need to check whether medium is free or not. Now there is a very much high chance that both this computer number 2 and computer number 4 will check the medium at the same time simultaneously. Then again it will lead to a collision. So this back-off algorithm will ensure that these two fellows will try medium at two different time slots. Whenever they try, if the medium is free, they will send it, or else they will wait for next time slot. Okay, that is CSMA CD. Okay, back-off algorithm is also a part of CSMA CD. So CSMA CD is not possible in wireless LAN. So the moment it detects the collision, the computers will stop sending the data, and then it will wait. Okay, once collision is detected, they will send a jam signal also. Okay, that is also not mentioned in the textbook, but pictorially they have given. So it will send a jam signal actually. Okay, jam signal, which will ensure that if there is any remaining data left out in the medium, that will be collided. That is known as jam signal. Okay, and jam signal, one more purpose is to ensure everybody is aware about the collision. Okay, so both the computers, computer number 4 and 2, both of them will send the jam signal. Okay, parallelly back-off algorithm will run in order to check. Yeah, back-off algorithm is mentioned in the textbook. You can refer to that. You please go through these points one by one. Okay, is everything clear now? You may just uh, remember this efficiency equation also. We are not interested in the derivation of this equation. Just need to know what is this equation. That's all. Okay. Then next is taking turn MAC protocols. CSMA CA is there, but they have not explained. Okay, let us see that later then. The next is taking turns MAC protocols. So channel partitioning MAC protocols share channel efficiency and fairly at high load, inefficient at low load, delay in channel access 1 by n, bandwidth allocated even if only one is active. So these are the key considerations of taking turns protocol. Random access MAC protocol efficient at low load. Single node can fully utilize the channel. High load collision is chances of collision is very high. Taking turns protocols look for best for both worlds. So if you are asked to compare these protocols, then you have to use these keywords. Taking 10 protocols, different methods. One is polling. So here, if you go for a master node, who can control all other subnodes, like when each one has to send the data. So if some controlling node is there, then that is called a master slave model in the polling. So if you go for this method, then master node invites slave nodes to transmit in turn, typically used with dumb slave devices. The concern is polling overhead. Master has to tell who has to send it. So that communication delay, that is what we call as latency. I mean, uh, single point of failure. If master is failed, then everyone will go for a toss. Now, hope there is nothing difficult to understand in this. So master will send a poll to a computer. Computer will send back the data, and that is how it is moving on. The next is token passing. Token passing. Say a token will go to say first computer. If he has nothing to send, the token will go to next computer, and if he has got a data, he will start sending the data. Okay. It will go, the data will go to the destination computer, and destination computer will send back an acknowledgement. Then the token will go to next fellow. And this is cable access network, like your hub and computer. So it is internet frames, TV channels, controls transmitted downstreams at different frequencies, etc. So data will go and it will be downstream. Okay, upstream and downstream. So that is how it is working. And here it is mentioned as 40 Mbps downstream and 30 Mbps upstream. So you would have heard asynchronous channels, right? Asynchronous way of communication. This is exactly what it means. Upstream is different and downstream is different. Both will work on different bandwidth. That is why it is upstream and downstream. That is why it is known as asynchronous.
Asymmetric, I guess, no, sir. Like
Asymmetric, yeah.
yes.
Not asymmetric, asynchronous it is known as.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Your home modem, you call it as ADSL modem, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So your home, what connection you are using? The download speed is more, but upload speed is comparatively less. The reason is we are using we are more downloading mode, right? Very few data only we will be uploading. Maybe hardly one email you will be sending or one file you will be uploading. But compared to download, it is quite less. So I think I'll stop the class with this today. I'll let you know about lab test in a short while after talking to Vishwa sir. And any doubts so far in today's class? I'll wait for if you have any doubts.